Rob Chapman.
Oh, and good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or bonsoir, or any other language. What's your name, Lee? I am the captain of this fine ship, the good ship Andertons Music Company. Today, myself and Monsieur Chapman are talking to you about a brand of guitar pedal from the lovely people at Jackson Audio. It's a relatively new company within the last 3 or 4 years, formed by a couple of chaps from Jackson Amp Works, who some of you may be familiar with. There's, nice sort of very posh American-made guitar amplifiers, and another chap from the Hillsong, one of the Hillsong bands in Australia, and they formed Jackson Audio and make very posh guitar pedals.
They've got some famous hills in Australia, haven't they? There's that big red
and
one.
famous songs.
That big red one.
Ayers Rock.
Ayers Hill.
Yes, not allowed Ayers Hill. So the 6 pedals on display here are a couple of compressor pedals in the Blossom and the Bloom, a boost pedal in the Amp mode, a drive pedal, a signature drive pedal in the Belle Starr, another drive pedal in the Golden Boy, another signature gold, and then a sort of a preampy thing in the Prism.
Do you remember the Golden Boy?
I remember Golden Child.
Golden Child.
Is that
Golden
what you're
Boy.
thinking of?
Yeah, such a film.
Perhaps when we get to Golden Boy, we'll insert some footage of Eddie Murphy in some sort of, was it like a Buddhist temple or something like that, being a...
Yes. It was just an amazing film.
Right. I don't know where to start really with this one. I think potentially we'll do the compressors first. The Bloom is possibly the most crazy featured compressor I've ever seen, and then the Blossom is like the green compressor from the Bloom. So perhaps let's start with the Bloom first.
Plumage.
We can turn a compressor on and off, we can turn an EQ on and off, and we can turn the Bloom on and off. So you can have 3 things going at once if you so wish. And then if we hold down the compressor button, we've even got different kinds of compressor. So you get what I'm saying in the sense of just like how crazy featured it is.
It's like a disco and a pedal, isn't it? If you just keep pressing it, we can whoop, whoop.
So I'm going to have to refer to my notes to tell you what all the different colour compressors are. But I shall get my friend here, Monsieur Chapman, to play through the Bloom. This is the Bloom version 2, which is Midi as well, M1D1.
And we're using a V140, and we're using a Les Paul that's been ravaged and savaged by many hands of many artists and ended up here.
We need to start with the white mode. Did you say that's white or slightly blue? I think that's the white mode. Well, here we go. Right.
Yeah, that's probably. It looks like it's purple from this angle.
I know. So it describes the Walter White mode as limit mode, ultra fast attack. Eddie Murphy that clamps any signal and acts as a limiter. I don't know if I'm a big. I don't know if I've ever really used a limiter with a guitar. You hear it sometimes with bass, don't you?
I've used limiter a lot in video production, but not on guitar stuff.
Well, let's see what happens if we tweak around with this.
Okay, tweakage. Okay, this is 100% a feel thing. You're not gonna.
I can hear something, but
okay,
it's not.
Yeah. So it's chopping off the top of the spikes. So
Yeah.
for example, if I do something low and then something high. Take it off.
Volume,
yeah, take it off. Yeah. It's very much a feel thing. It's a bit like compression, but it's rather than bringing up the low, it's chopping off the top.
So the next one,
it goes this far, no further.
Is
you may not pass.
Is the green mode? Is country mode? This has another fast attack, albeit not quite as fast as white mode. That's perfectly tailored for chicken picking, or modern country.
You know who else is perfectly tailored?
Mr. Rob Chicken Picking Chapman. This is so up your street, Rob. I can only really apologise to everyone out there that's just going, why are these two demonstrating this pedal? I'm getting the tricky one out the way first, I think. This is the magenta mode. This is R&B mode.
Oh, yeah,
bro. Baby. This is medium attack that works well for staccato rhythm parts. So, Rob, please.
Medium attack.
As opposed to for staccato rhythm mode. R&B. Come on. Diggity by Blackstreet. Is that
no?
Let's quickly cycle through the rest of these. Blue mode is ballad mode. Yes, slow attack that is perfect for adding a gentle lift to the buttock and to the end of a phrase.
I've been looking for a ballad mode.
Gently lift my buttocks.
While I do this, could you sing some Adam Levine at me,
yes.
Lovingly?
Okay. You're only allowed to play G, C, and D chords
G, C, G, ready?
in pop ballads.
But you got to look at me and sing.
I will. Baby, I'm lost in your eyes. Let me into your thighs. I'll wear a disguise. Anyway, that's enough.
You had a really nice vocal tone on a lot of that, man. It actually took me by surprise.
Preset 5 is Aqua. This is Danish pop mode. It's not really. It's just Aqua. You have to use this for I'm a Barbie Girl.
Don't insult Aqua. They had some great tunes. You remember?
Pete was in Aqua for a bit. Did you know that?
But was he really?
Well, you were a bit. You knew them though, didn't you?
Yeah. Pete, were you in Aqua?
So, Preset 5. Aqua mode, slide mode, aka Joey mode. I'm reading this straight off the manual. Viewers of Blue Peter from the 1980s, not that Joey. Adds an additional internal compression stage in series before the primary compressor. Sounds like an American general election here. And allows for nearly endless sustain on clean guitar parts, a la Lowell George from Little Feat. What's Lowell George? I mean, I know the band. I can't think how he pronounced his first name. But anyway,
let me just tune to a slide tuning.
The AKA Joey mode is referring, of course, to the very talented, devilishly handsome, and 100% Canadian Joey Landreth. Devilishly. Hit a note and listen. The way the compressor goes. Whoa. Okay, so here we go. We're in Aqua mode, aka Joey mode, for some slide. Do you want some distortion?
But whatever you want, man. I'm happy.
We'll have it without. Good effort, son. Better than I could do anyway. Right. And then the last one, yeah, do you know what?
What?
If you're into your compressors, then, you know, I guess something like the Origin Cali 76 is probably the sort of relatively undisputed king of expensive guitar compressors. But this is sounding great, and it's got bucket loads of features, and the MIDI angle. So if you use this with some sort of MIDI foot switch and you want to have different compressions for different presets, very, very clever. Anyway, last one, before we quickly do the EQ and the bloom. Orange says auxiliary compressor. The auxiliary compressor is the internal compressor circuit that's used in preset 5. There are two trimmers hedge trimmers located on the side of the pedal that allow the user to adjust the compression and volume for this additional compression stage. So here we are, last compressor, and then we'll move on. So quickly moving on, we've got an EQ that I can bring in now. What's quite clever about this, you've only got 2 switches, but you know, as you can see from what I'm doing here, one switch is the compressor on. If you hold the compressor down, it allows you to toggle through the different types. Hit both pedals, you get the EQ. Hit just the bloom pedal, you get the bloom. Oh, just bloom. Have we got different coloured blooms as well? Oh. Not sure what's going on there. Like the light kind of... Oh. What dark magic is in here? So you can use all of these things independently or together. So I mean, if you literally wanted all 3 lights on, as Rob said, for your disco, you absolutely could. So EQ, you got bass, middle, and treble. You can do, you know, you can smiley face and different things. So.
Sorry, I was just... I've written the new song for Clockwork Wolf and Company, and I was just trying to remember part of it. So just bear with me a second.
Okay, bear with, bear with. Well, nice to have that bit of extra control there if you want it. And then bloom, from what I gather, is like just more compression. So if there's not enough compression from the compressor, you can add the bloom in. The bloom seems to have a smidgen of drive in it as well. So anyway, here we go.
This is one of my favourite chords. It's just great. It's just...
That's enough of that.
I have a question,
We've
though.
spent like 20 minutes talking about a bloom.
But I still have a question. Do you think those 2 buttons being so close to each other and having so many functionalities is a practical thing for the floor? Just being an advocate of the depth.
I think that so many hipster cool guitar players now are running everything off of a MIDI switcher. It doesn't matter.
Good point.
But you are right, if your intention is not to run this off of a MIDI switcher, then any of these pedals where you get, you know, you just need to be a bit careful. How big are your clumpy feet?
You must submit to my die.
If you're wearing your Zach Wild motorbike boots, you might inadvertently press 2 buttons at once.
Yes.
You probably press like all 6 buttons at once.
Before you know it, you've got compression rather than compression.
So the blossom over here is basically the green mode of the bloom. So you've got volume, compression, EQ, and mix on here. So that, to be honest with you, I don't even think we need to show you this one, because it's just, if you were listening to the bloom going, I particularly liked the green sound and wasn't terribly fond of the rest of it, then maybe the blossom is for you, and you can save a few pennies to go and buy another Jackson audio pedal if you want to.
Did you ever watch Blossom?
Was Blossom a thing?
Blossom was a programme.
Was it? About what?
Sort of quite nerdy, educated girl.
No.
Goes on adventures, hilarity ensues. Then fast forward many, many years, she ends up being one of the main characters from Big Bang Theory. That's the link with you.
Wow. Oh yeah, because everybody says I look like the dude from Sheldon.
Yeah.
Is she the blonde one then in
No.
Not that one.
Not Kaylee Cuoco, no.
She's the only one I know from Big Bang
Why would
Theory.
you know her?
Anyway, right. Amp mode.
Amp?
We
got one, it's the V140.
No, okay, so amp mode is the boost from the Prism. It's such an incestuous range, this, isn't it? It's like everything is the love child of something else. But anyway, yeah, so amp mode is the boost from the Prism pedal, which according to the Jackson Audio website is everyone's favourite mode on the Prism. So let's listen to this. And this is just a boost. Love it. Nice and simple. Won't take us 2.5 hours to explain.
It's nice.
Here we go, amp mode. pedals like this, they take a good tone and make it a great tone, don't they? That's
It's like
all
a
it does.
BBE Sonic Maximizer.
Kind of. With
But
less
not from the
stereo.
80s. It's nice.
We might stack that into something else in a minute to give you an idea of what it might do into an amp with a little bit more hair. The Belle Starr is a signature drive pedal for a chap called Drew Shirley from an American band called Switchfoot. And he tells a story that, I'm pretty sure he tells the story that that Belle Starr is some sort of outlaw from, a bygone era that he's distantly related to.
Yeah.
Cool story.
I mean, let's be honest,
Are
we're
you
all related to an outlaw somewhere.
Ned Kelly, Billy the Kid, Wyatt Earp. He wasn't an outlaw though, was he, Wyatt Earp? Wasn't he the sheriff?
If you had an outlaw in your family history, what would he have done? Or she have done?
Robin Hood. I am distantly related to Robin of Locksley.
Are you really?
No.
You totally had me. I was so excited.
I would love to be. Everything I do, Rob, I do it for you. Sounding. No, well, I mean, I know your mum and dad, but I'm guessing it's going to be more obscure than that.
It's a bit more obscure.
Okay.
There was a really famous nurse from England.
Florence Nightingale.
Yeah.
You're never related to Florence Nightingale.
I am actually
That's
related.
one of my daughter's heroes.
Really?
Yeah.
What a random obscure hero for 2020.
Well, I think it's because their school houses or whatever are like Nightingale's one of them, and so they talk about Florence Nightingale.
My mum has a mirror, like a hand mirror that used to belong to her.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We call her Flo in the family, yeah, Flo.
Right, moving on, the Prism. Have you ever been to Prism, Rob?
Not yet, but the way we're going.
It won't be long. Yes, what is the maximum sentence for crimes against YouTube? Here we go. The Prism is a boost sort of preamp. And it has amp mode, body, and we're in medium. Here we go. Ah, yes. I think it just
brings
better.
it in.
It's the better pedal. So just to remind you again, the amp mode from the Prism is essentially what the amp mode pedal on its own is based on. So let's try some different ones. Let's try colour mode. Oh, hello!
That was extremely
lot
colourful.
more colour came
that
through
was
there.
Way louder than we expected.
All three sort of
pickup.
boost modes can be run in high, medium, or low mode. I'm in medium at the moment.
Wait, let me neck pick up.
Should we go in a trans mode? I don't know what trans. I'm guessing it's
but
transistor, but it could be. It could be a transformer. Let's go.
That does a
really like that.
Does a very interesting thing to the low end.
Really like that. Yeah, I wasn't sure which of the three modes was my favourite. They each had their own thing, as you were playing different riffs. Really like the Prism. Very, very cool. Lastly, we've saved the best till last, or at least my favourite person till last. Golden Boy, not to be confused with Golden Child.
Eddie Murphy
is a Joey Landreth signature pedal. It's got a bit of the Bloom vibe about it, in the sense that it's got like quite a lot of different modes. So we've got, for a start, we've got different coloured drive modes, and I'll have to again refer back to the manual to tell you what they do. It's then got, and this is where it gets a bit freaky, and you're gonna have to really pay attention here. See how bright the orange light is?
Yeah.
That's like maximum drive. We can make it like not quite so bright. We can make it a little bit brighter.
What?
A little bit brighter again. Maximum brightness. So yeah, every gain stage has got 4 stages of gain, if you like. So it's like crazy. And then there's boost and there's EQ. It is MIDI, and I think that's probably the point of just, you get your sounds, you assign that as a MIDI preset, and away you go. Anyway, let's get to green mode, which is the first mode. Oh, I've just gone.
You went past it.
Damn it.
Preempt it.
Green mode says classic screamer, 2 symmetrical silicone diodes. 2 symmetrical silicone diodes. And tube screamer. Go.
Really
Next,
nice.
Magenta. What was her? Was she from? She was like a presenter, wasn't she? Magenta something or other from Rough Guide to the World. Can't remember.
Oh
anyway.
yes, she was, and she was fit.
Asymmetric clipping. Asymmetric silicone diodes will clip the top and the bottom portions of your guitar waveform differently, resulting in complex. Blah, 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 blah. It sounds like this.
Sounded a lot like the green one.
Didn't it? The blue one now is 4 symmetric silicone diodes, blah, 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 and then says 2 notable pedals that use this style of clipping are the Timmy and the King of Tone. 2 of my favourite pedals. Well, I really like the
Pebbles.
Timmy, but two very cool. Anyway, what did you say?
Pebbles.
Here we go.
I'm not hearing a lot of difference, Lee.
Making me think that it's all a lie, isn't it? All these different types of drive pedals, they all fundamentally sound the same.
Did you want a green tube screamer or a blue tube screamer?
Next is Amber. And the Amber is Vintage Marshall. 2 red LEDs are used to symmetrically clip blah, 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 blah.
Ready?
Yes. They are all the same, aren't they, Rob?
They're all the
Play
same.
it again. yeah, I mean, I don't know which bits of that we're going to use. We're sort of going surprised that there's not a massively audible difference between each colour. Where there is a big audible difference is this idea of cycling through the gain stages. So we've got each circuit can be run at either 25, 50, 75 or 100%. So here's 25% of the orange version.
Boost! Oh. I mean,
and the boost works independently as well.
It does sound really nice.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just that there's not a lot of difference in the sounds.
All the drive sounds and the boosts and everything sounds great. I mean, I think neither Rob or I are prolific compressor users.
Neither you or I are Joey Landreth either.
Or Joey Landreth, absolutely. Much as I wish I was. So there you are. Jackson audio pedals. A little bit of, if we've whet your appetite or started,
if we've wet anything,
tickled your taste buds.
My favourite two were the Bloom and the fifth one in from my side.
Prism.
Yeah, the Prism and the Bloom.
Prism sounded great. Bloom was very cool. I like the Belle stuff. To be honest with you, the thing that we've not really got across here as well is just how beautifully made they all are as well. And when you pick them up, they're like, oh yes. I mean, that's like a gold bullion. That's enough. Anyway, right. There we are. I've been the captain.
I've been Rob. Bye.
What was the film Broken Arrow about?
I don't know.
I'm sure it had like Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves or something like that in it, and it was about, or am I getting confused with Point Break?
It was about a guy who was a pedal demonstrator, but then he took a
broken arrow to the knee. Yes!